Welcome back to JDA Football. On this episode, the return of the podcast. That's it.
Woo!
Got
Woo!
the Arsenal fan off AFTV. Peter Buck, how are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. How's everybody been in lockdown?
Bored.
Bored, yeah. Not doing much.
Yeah.
You've been building a shed, Alex.
Yeah, nearly done now, so should be good.
Shed?
Don't say bored.
It's like a turquoisey yellow.
Turquoise yellow.
Turquoise yellow.
What?
So it's green, is what you're
It's
saying.
brown as brown.
Audio Jungle.
Right, so let's get straight into it. So, Joe, have you got the latest general news to tell us anything about?
So the first thing that's happening is obviously with the return of the Premiership, there have been leagues that have cancelled. So League 1 and 2, and I think everything under that has been completely cut off from the end of this season. I think there are some teams coming up from the obvious winners, but I don't think relegation's happening.
Yeah, so the Crew are going up, as in the background, if you can see. So Crew are going up with Swindon from League 2, and League 1, Coventry are going up with Rotherham. And I think Barrow and I don't know who else are coming up from the National League. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? Do you think they should still do promotion and relegation, or do you think they should just null and void the season?
How's it gonna work? Like, do you say they're still doing promotions in some of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no relegation.
How's that gonna work then? Surely you're gonna end up with like 3 extra teams in each league.
They can relegate one extra team every time until it evens out over the years.
They're doing playoffs.
Right, okay, I'm with you.
They're doing playoffs as well, or they're going to try and do it. But yeah, what do you guys think about that?
I think it'll put a lot of pressure on the teams that are struggling for a season. A lot more pressure, sorry. And it will be quite tricky for those teams to manage to stay up if they've not got the money and they've not got the players, especially from these lower leagues. It'll put a lot of pressure on a lot of teams, which you could see as a good thing. But I think it's just going to be a bit weird for most people to come to terms with over the next few years, as eventually we have to balance it out. Or we could leave it as it is. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, I think if you null and void a season, that's just giving up. And I would feel really terrible, really, if they've just done that for any season. I was one of the supporters of just nulling and voiding the season for the Premiership, but I would have said that Liverpool could have been awarded the title, so it wasn't completely like writing off a season.
It's Liverpool, isn't it?
Seeing a season written off completely with no results, yeah, it just wouldn't sit right with me.
What about you, Tim? What do you think?
Well, I think they've made the right decision in crowning champions in all the leagues, and obviously bringing a few teams up. But there'll definitely be a lot of controversy because of the teams that have finished like 5th or 6th in League 1 and League 2. They'd be like, well, if we played the rest of the games, then we would have obviously had a chance of going up. And as well, teams like Bolton, Tranmere, they've gone down from League 1, and they might argue that if they played the rest of the games, they might have been able to stay up. So there's always a bit of controversy, whatever you pick. But in my opinion, that was the best decision.
You say Bolton have been moved down? They've been relegated?
Yeah.
So they are doing relegation?
Yeah. In some leagues, yeah.
Ah, okay.
What do you think, Pete?
Well, I'm not as in sync with all the lower leagues. Obviously, Joe is, because Villa always going up and down. But,
We've been down once in our entire history.
Where are you going this season, Joe?
Champions League.
Exactly.
Champions League.
Shut. Huh?
Champions League.
Oh, yeah, nah, that's not happening. Even Arsenal can't get there, mate. Yeah, no, I'm not that in sync with it all. But it sounds like they've got it sorted. It's at least because I think the main issue, it would be worse for all the clubs if they didn't have something in place. If they were all on the edge of their seats, like not knowing what's going to happen, they wouldn't know what their next move would be. If they think that they're going up, then they might want to start doing more training so they can prepare for the new season at a higher level. Whereas if they thought that the season's just going to repeat or whatever, they might want to keep everyone at home still to try and prevent the spread of coronavirus or anything. So I think it's sensible having stuff set in stone for them at least.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to add. Everybody's said valid points there.
Yeah.
So Pep's got a new assistant manager, it looks like. I don't know his full name yet. Is it Juan Bello? I can't say his name.
It's a long one. I'll tell you that much. Louis, let me get it up quickly. It ends in Julio.
Juanama Lilo or Lilio. I don't know fully how to say it.
Juan Manuel Leon.
He's 50-year-old Spanish mentor. Of course, replacing Mikel Arteta. What do you think about that? Because I think it's quite vital that he gets an assistant manager with experience and that can adapt to his football like Arteta did. What do you think, Pete, since Arteta's gone to Arsenal?
I mean, he hasn't done anything at Arsenal, has he? No, I don't know. Man City, I think they need it. It'll be interesting to see like what a difference it's made, because the season's been all right for them on a Manchester City standard, but it hasn't been that amazing. So I think it's something good, and obviously Pep sounds very thingy with him, sounds very in sync with him and everything. So yeah, no, it'll do good for the team, I reckon.
Yeah. What about you, Joe?
Well, the wheels seemed to come off City straight after last season, and then they lost players, and there were players going out for injuries, and they didn't really set their sights on the title as much as they did last season. When Liverpool got to a certain point ahead, they took a step back, and the wheels just completely fell off City, and they're still in a very good position, but from the City that we've seen in the past 5 years, it's not where they should be.
I don't think they're getting enough out of their players.
No, definitely not.
Why a coach is the right move.
I think that they could do a lot more to include fans, but coaching would definitely help. Just because they have a phenomenal squad, and it doesn't seem to be getting the right potential. Because they could be a title-winning squad again this season, but the wheels sort of fell off. And I don't know if that's a player attitude, like they're sitting back because they've won so much in recent years. But another head coach or assistant manager is a very good option, I'd say.
And Alex, what do you think?
Well, I think from the start of the season, to be honest, City didn't have the same mentality as they did last season. And I begin to question, like, is it like because of all the managerial discomfort that's happening, they're getting rid of Arteta, and people are starting to say, or maybe Pep Guardiola isn't as good as people say he is. And that kind of showed on the pitch this season as well. Their players haven't performed to their usual standard at any player except from maybe Kevin De Bruyne. But yeah, I think if they bring in another manager-ish type, because he's obviously got a lot of experience, and I reckon if they bring in someone who resembles Pep Guardiola and knows his playing style, then it could develop the team. But again, if it wasn't for that insanely good Liverpool side this season, they would still be top of the league. So you can't really take that much away from Pep Guardiola this season.
An Everton fan called Liverpool amazing. Is that right?
You can't deny that their squad is probably the best in the world at the moment.
I still would if I was a Liverpool
fan.
But I'm an Everton fan.
Could you take into consideration that City have had a lot of injuries with Laporte and Leroy Sané? And Fernandinho's had to fill it in at centre-back, so that could be another thing why City aren't competing as much as they were last season.
But in my opinion, they have the squad depth to cover that. Obviously, they can't find someone of that quality, but they didn't have anyone that would cost them a title. It wasn't that bad. There was definitely a player mentality issue and a lack of almost strength from the manager, because last season, everyone across England, every football fan across England was gritting their teeth because City and Liverpool were battling so hard against each other. And it came down to the last 3 games or something. And that just didn't happen this season at all. City took a step back and let Liverpool have this season. And for me, that's a issue within the manager and the coaching. And that isn't something that's down to injuries.
Well,
they could have got that back at any point.
They didn't replace Company, which was a massive part of their squad, as a captain. And as soon as you change that over to Fernandinho, who's barely been there for like 5 years, say, for instance, but Company's been there, say, 10 years, it's going to have more of an impact on the squad with that leadership.
Yeah, it's the leadership, isn't it?
Yeah. But any other general news?
Yes. Alex will know a lot about this one. They're talking about moving Everton and Liverpool, the Merseyside derby, to a neutral ground after when football restarts. Alex, what do you think about this?
Well, personally, I don't want them to change it because obviously, even if there is no fans, I feel like there might be a slight advantage with us being our home stadium. We know how to play there, obviously. But there's so much hype around games like this, and especially in the city, with it being in the city centre as well. There's not really anything to stop people going out and meeting with their friends to watch the game, which I 100% know that's going to happen. And if they want to keep everyone safe at this time, then I feel like that's the only sensible option that they can have. I've heard it might be either in Wembley or Villa Park. Personally, I prefer Wembley because a bit more of a... well, we haven't been there in a while, and hopefully we can get a few points out of it.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, the reason they're moving this venue is because, well, thinking of moving it is because there may be a large gathering of fans outside the stadium. Well, it's extremely likely that there'll be a large gathering of fans outside the stadium watching it together, which will obviously be a massive risk for the virus going on around now. And they're trying to move it because they want to avoid that at all costs. I'd say it's the right move to protect the safety of everybody. I know Everton fans might say they feel more at home. The players would feel more at home in their stadium. But an opportunity to play at Wembley is something you can't pass up, especially being Everton. What do you guys think, Pete and Dan?
Go on, Dan, you take the floor.
Right, so I think home and away doesn't really matter. You could say, I don't know, the pitch might be better for them or some rubbish like that. But I think if they bring in this like atmosphere thing that Sky Sports are thinking of bringing in, where they'll have the fan chanting in the background, that could make a huge difference with all the player mentality and how they're going to think. But I think overall, I think it's the right thing to do to move the venue.
Pete?
You smashed it, really, haven't you? I don't think there's anything else I can really say. It's the best thing for them to do at the moment. And like you say, playing in Wembley wouldn't be bad. Although it'd be weird without the atmosphere that you'd normally get there. So
yeah, having been to Wembley, it's a phenomenal atmosphere because it's close over the top and it's so loud. It's just amazing. But Dan, you were saying about the atmosphere not making a difference without the fans.
Yeah,
I would say that even without the fans, a home ground will still provide some advantage because players are more comfortable in a ground that they know, because they'll be changing in a changing rooms that they've changed in for not changing because they're coming in their own kit, but they're walking down a tunnel that they've walked down for half of their matches every season. and it's just the comfort of playing in a home ground, and that will be slightly affected if they move the venue. But I can't see people arguing too strongly on that point, because without fans, that advantage isn't much, and that feeling of comfort wouldn't mean as much because the fans aren't there and they make the game.
Yeah. It's like it's a neutral venue as well, so they're both clubs are going to be like there, and
yeah, they're both in the same boat.
Yeah. That goes on to the latest news. You said about Pete the Zoom and what's happening in
yeah.
the Danish
So
league.
in the Danish league, obviously they haven't got as many fans as they do in the Premier League. It's not as big, but they have been using Zoom calls and putting fans on the big screen, so players still have an audience to run over to in the corner, so they don't look as daft as they do at the moment in the Bundesliga. So I don't know. It's a weird one. Apparently, they're talking about doing it some Premier League clubs are talking about doing it. Obviously, Arsenal are throwing themselves in the deep end with it, but I don't know what I think about it. I think it's a weird one, and I have no idea how it's going to work.
Yeah, there's going to be no reception, is there? It's going to be really laggy, I presume. But yeah, I think I don't think it'll make too much of a difference because you can't see the chants with the fans doing anything. I presume they'll just be on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I'll get a big thumbs up. Gotta think about the thumbs.
Personally, I wouldn't feel at home shouting at a computer screen in my living room, and I think a lot of fans wouldn't be shouting like they would at a game, just because it's weird. You're with a bunch of strangers on a call and you're shouting at a computer screen, and I don't think it will ever bring that atmosphere back. But they're talking about this because it's a sponsorship issue with Zoom. They want to get a sponsorship with Zoom, don't they?
Yeah.
I think this move is more about the money than making the players feel more at home.
Yeah.
Because a lot of clubs are struggling right now.
I think
if it goes on.
Yeah. Also going on with televised games, you've got Everton and Norwich next week on the BBC, and I think Sheffield United and Manchester City, I think it might be. But yeah, there's only 25 games on the BBC and 64 on Sky. I think they should all be on BBC because no matter what fan you are, I think everybody has a right to watch it. But then the money comes in. So what do you think, guys?
Anyone
Yeah, so I think, obviously I agree, every fan should get to watch it, because I personally can't get Sky in my house. We've had our Sky line severed because a builder cut him by accident. But yeah, I think every fan should have the right to watch, but there is a money element. As to all parts of football, there is a money element to this. Why they're going with Sky more than BBC, because they're able to pay more being such a huge company. Whereas the BBC, obviously they're still massive, but they're not paid by the people that watch it, so they're not gonna be able to pay the figures that Sky would.
I think I've seen with some of the Sky games, Pick is the channel that's run by Sky, and I'm pretty sure some of the Sky games are going to be filmed on there. So they're still going to, like, I don't know which ones and I don't know how many are going to be available, but as well as the 25 games on BBC, you'll be able to get the odd few on Pick, which is a free view channel, through Sky as well. So it's not all the money. Well, I say it's not all the money grab. It is, isn't it? Really. But yeah,
I think like I've had an email last week because I'm a United season ticket holder, and they've said we will give you a package for to cover all the rest of your season ticket matches that you would have been to. So I think that's good, but I don't know how great the coverage is going to be because I'm not too sure how MUTV is, but hopefully it's good. I think they should offer you like more match day experience, like a bit more, because that's coming out of your money, and like you want the best value.
You're not getting a refund.
I was going to
No.
say, is it still the same price just to watch the games?
I think
Like on TV?
I'm not too sure, but I know there might not be no refund for a lot of the Premier League clubs. I think we were supposed to be getting them for all of the ones that we missed, but I don't know if that's been overturned or not.
I think it's tricky because United obviously they don't have to worry about money basically, being such a huge club, but other clubs can't just refund all the matches that their season ticket holders would have paid for.
I don't know, Joe, about the money bit with United at the moment because they're struggling to hold down a lot of their transfer deals because of they don't want to overspend.
That's more a security thing. They have the money to do it. They just don't. They're not willing to pay during the time.
We're definitely overspending this summer.
Yeah.
And last summer, and the summer before.
Um,
and the next 10.
But yeah, just giving a straight refund can be tricky for big companies and big teams. So they might be better off offering some extras next season. So returning season ticket holders might get a day in the box or a tour of the stadium or something. There will be, I'm sure that there'll be something for every season ticket holder fan.
Like a free Champions League game or Carabao Cup game, FA Cup, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. There'll be something for you. It's just straight refunds might be tricky to do.
But what annoys me a bit as well is at the season with United, you either pay for Premier League games and Cup games as one, or you just pay for Premier League games. So I've just gone with the Premier League games, but it's like I think it's a bit stupid how you have to like pay extra why is it not in the whole season ticket because all the games are being played at home. That's when it comes down to the money as well, which is annoying.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, isn't it? It's just another position to make more money, which when you're at that scale and you've got that many fans that will pay the extra bit, then you might as well go on with it. So
yeah.
What do you think, Alex?
It's a bit. I'll just go back onto the BBC and Sky thing. I've got to wonder whether they're thinking of a risk factor because obviously if all of the games were on BBC, then there is a chance that people could invite others to their house to come and watch the games, and I feel like that is sort of a risk factor as well, but it could be taken the other way as well. Because you could say if it was all on BBC, then there would be no need for football fans to go to other people's houses to watch the games. And I feel like even with going back to Dan's season ticket thing, if you're not getting a refund, then there's nothing you can do, in my opinion, that will live up to going to a match. Even if you got all the games free to watch for the rest of the season, it's not going to be on the level as going to the match. So, in my opinion, you should either get a full refund for the whole season, which I think is what Everton's doing, which is a bit weird because they've been to half the matches, but we're getting a full refund for the season, which I think is very good of them.
Go on, sorry, finish if you want. Sorry.
No, I'll finish. I think.
Done? Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. The only thing is obviously I feel like because if it was one club that didn't give people refunds, then there'd be an issue. But because it's something that every club's involved in, and it's like this whole virus thing is something everyone's having to go through, it's kind of one of them where you have to be like fair dues. Like if you have to pay that bit extra. If you're a proper fan and you end up being out, like I know it's a lot of money, but you end up being out that amount of money, at least you know that it's part of the reason that your club's able to keep on playing through to the next season.
Yeah. But yeah, Alex, you're getting a season ticket next year, aren't you?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But depending on when and how the season restarts, it could change a bit. So yeah.
Where do you reckon you'll get a seat?
I'm not sure. Hopefully in the Gladys Street, but yeah.
For us, they do it in like tiers. So like tier 1's the most expensive, and then as you go up, it gets more expensive.
Cheaper.
No, we just do ends.
Cheaper. Sorry. Right, Enzo. But yeah,
There's some with restricted view, so they're considerably
the
cheaper.
away fans. Have you seen that? The massive pole.
Yeah, there's massive poles.
God's sake. So annoying. But yeah, any more news?
No, I think that's it for the general news.
Yeah, I think we've cleared that list.